So recently, Resident Evil Requiem producer Masato Kumazawa has been getting interviewed and obviously answering questions about the game. From the weird AI Leon to the game's main approach in terms of horror, but fans have wanted to know about one more thing than the other. He obviously can't confirm nor deny that Leon, or let alone any Raccoon City survivor, is in the game specifically, but he was able to say this. With Grace being the daughter of Alyssa Ashcroft from Resident Evil Outbreak, can we expect more characters from Outbreak to show up in Requiem? I would say that yes, there are going to be some characters from the past series to come in, but don't over-expect or hype it. We can't promise you anything about that, but the only thing I can say is that there will be characters that have been involved in the Raccoon City incident involved in the game. Now, of course, this should be an obvious thing we knew about. Going back to Raccoon City, you would at least hope that one or multiple survivors of the incident would be involved in this game, and that's something to hold on to. The biggest thing I'm more intrigued about is the fact that there will be Resident Evil Outbreak characters returning in this game aside from Alyssa. Whether if it's one or two is completely up in the air at this point. Another thing I would like to add on before I get into who could possibly show up in Requiem is the question involving the conversation of remaking Outbreak itself. And Masato said he would definitely like to do it one day, but it would need enough fan requests for the team to fully tackle the project. Outbreak has always been a very interesting game to discuss about when it comes to the remake conversation. It's definitely not the first one that comes to most people's minds, but it's a game that for sure no one would be mad about if it was remade, if that makes sense. Honestly, that conversation could definitely be for another video, but I thought I would just throw it in the conversation for the people that would love to see a remake of a game that I believe was ahead of its time. Now, aside from that, let's get back to the Requiem talk. And not abandon Outbreak just yet, but the thing that made Outbreak so unique was the wide variety of characters you could select from, and each having unique traits, not to mention that they were all average people that survived the incident, or some, as we don't know what's canon or not, aside from Alyssa. Now, obviously, not every single character is going to show up. It would just be too much, so for me personally, I only selected the people that would make the most sense to appear in this game, and if they fit the story along with Grace. So unfortunately, I decided to cross off Jim, David, Mark, and Cindy. Alyssa obviously being crossed off because, well, she's fucking dead. Simply to put it, Mark would be 82 years old during Requiem's events. Just let him live his life until he's dead. It might not be too long unless he already is. From what I read, Cindy decided to be a nurse or want to be one and moved elsewhere to the United States and probably doesn't plan on coming back to the city. That might give her nightmares still. Jim, if he survived, worked at a shoe store and again doesn't want to go back. More than likely, not to mention he probably wants to keep his involvement secretive until he dies. David, on the other hand, has a mysterious ending. He was helping Umbrella researchers escape a tyrant. Primarily, one of the researchers was someone by the name of Linda Baldwin. The answer as to knowing how they escaped the tyrant is completely uncertain, and we don't know if David is alive or dead. Well, that goes for all of the characters, but he is more mysterious than the others. Which now leaves me to the three characters that I believe have the best chance to appear in Requiem. Let's start off with the first one essentially being who I have in third place, being George Hamilton. Interestingly enough, George would be in his mid-60s if he were to appear, but aside from that, let's get into a role he could possibly be in. George was a surgeon/doctor despite not leading the charge. He was top-notch at his job at least. He was affiliated or at least an acquaintance with one of the main researchers that helped develop the Daylight vaccine, being Peter Jenkins, and the proof is in a file saying this: "Dear George, I have vital information about the current city crisis which only you will understand. I'm waiting at the university. Please contact me as soon as possible. Peter Jenkins." Afterwards, he discovered the Daylight vaccine, and after escaping the city, his work in research wasn't done. Possibly working on other vaccines to prevent outbreaks now. With his knowledge of that vaccine, he could possibly have had conversations with Alyssa involving how special Grace was, in terms of her blood. George could possibly be in a role where he won't be playable, but be in a support role from a very far distance. Worst case scenario, this is George Hamilton, but I don't believe it whatsoever. His desires to create more vaccines and prevent other outbreaks can be a display, but knowing about Alyssa's death could be personal motivation to help uncover the hidden truth of the outbreak, and really study and know what really makes Grace so unique. If anyone could do that, it's him. Second up is Kevin Ryman. Without a doubt the most popular Outbreak character probably before the Requiem reveal trailer. He was a cop obviously with the RPD, and was friends with a rumored character showing up in Requiem. Kevin was one of the only handful of RPD officers left alive after the Outbreak had completely spiraled out of control. Kevin was involved in happenings at several other locations throughout Raccoon City, and he had managed to escape the city just moments before the missile hit. Following that incident, Kevin moved to Florida where he took a new job in Miami. Now, what could possibly connect him to the story of Requiem? To be quite honest with you, there isn't really much for me, unless a massive reach I'm going to say turns out to be true. That being, he is the father of Grace. What could possibly lead up to one night with him and Alyssa? I have no clue, and I don't want to elaborate any further. but he probably kept a friendship with some people. And if Alyssa was one of them, sure, maybe he could find motivations to go back. However, he would be in his late 50s pushing 60. I'm pretty sure he would not be up for it whatsoever. I would not rule him out because of his popularity involving Outbreak, but I could definitely see him living that Florida lifestyle and not wanting to be bothered. The final character is the one I believe to be the most likely Outbreak character to appear in Requiem, and that's Yoko Suzuki. Yoko was a pewter technician for William Birkin, and in 1996 volunteered for a top-secret experiment ran by Greg Mueller. Yoko donated base cells from her body which were essential to completing the last iteration of the T-virus at the time, but something went wrong with the experiment and she had a very bad reaction. Greg performed a procedure on her brain that wiped her memory of the entire event. Following Greg's death and co-worker by the name of Monica, she slowly got her memories back, and also helped create the Daylight vaccine and escape the city before bombing. Another thing she did, she also testified against Umbrella during the Raccoon City trials, something Alyssa also did. Alyssa and Yoko possibly could have developed a very close friendship that could have carried over for decades, and maybe Yoko knew Grace. What she was up to after testifying is completely unknown. However, maybe if she knew about her close friend's death and her daughter trying to uncover the truth of the outbreak, maybe Yoko could possibly help her and maybe explain things that led up to the incident at the hotel. Another silly thing I would like to headcanon is the bag that Grace is carrying with her was a gift from Yoko herself. She would be in her late 40s and I definitely could see her returning since she testified against Umbrella. As a playable character, maybe not, but her returning is something I would like to see. If you guys do agree or disagree, let me know in the comments down below, and if there is an Outbreak character you would like to see return in Resident Evil Requiem, let me know as well. Be sure to leave a like on this video, hype it up, and subscribe to the channel if you guys are new, or if you just enjoy Resident Evil content in general. And as always, I will catch you guys in my next video. Peace out, and much love.